he's talking about. And there's a lot that could happen in between that, because we've got the Magician and the Wheel of Fortune in the same. So things could get turned around or righted, so that doesn't happen as well with that card too, because this could be off-world help from other worldlies. And then this card was also in the past. So I think they actually have a lot more potential to control our climate than we thought.
Yeah.
And it might have something to do with sort of the evolution of the human race, where we can tap into that help maybe. Okay, because it'll be more balanced than that. I think it'll give us time, if that's the case, to get up and running, kind of ways of growing. There's so many different ways you can grow. Even underground you can grow. Maybe we can utilize the tunnels that are left and actually grow food in them, once we smudge them really good, of course.
Yes.
Like there's all of these, if there's all of this, these new ways to grow food up walls in your apartment and all that, like they can figure it out. We can figure this out. I don't get, we're going to have the food shortages everybody keeps talking about. I mean, to some degree, maybe this year because of the trucking and issues around parts for trucks. And now they're saying in Ontario, there's this certain kind of diesel that's not going to be available. Once they're out, and they've been waiting for a long time. Yeah. So there's this big, and it'll literally shut all the trucks down. They won't be running because they don't have the diesel. So it's like, oh my goodness, right? Like that's what they're saying in Canada. So those kind of things could affect us in a short term. Yeah. But I do get, there's going to be, things are going to get righted. It won't go on for months and months, or at least it won't be as bad as, like, I feel like there's things put in place to help things boot back up again. But there'll be disruptions. There's going to be things disrupted for sure. And we're already seeing that. Absolutely.
Yeah, we certainly are, but I don't want it to get any colder. I don't like being cold.
Yeah, I don't like being cold either, let me tell you.
I really don't like being cold. So leading on from that question then, just going to slip another one in. All the ships that are docked off all the ports at the moment and are not being allowed to land, yep. Can we ask the cards whether that is the white hats that are inspecting them or the black hats that are keeping the supplies getting to us? Because it seems that all across the globe there's ships stuck out at sea that are not being allowed to offload.
So I did a reading on that. I did a whole video on that, and it's absolutely the white hats. Yeah, I think it went up on Saturday, or it could have been Friday. I can't remember, but yeah, it was one of my most viewed videos.
I'll go and look at that then. I don't know how I've missed that one, because I know
everybody's, yeah, it's got the word cargo in the title.
Okay.
But everybody's interested in that for sure. And it looked like it was a white hat off, where they're actually taking out illegal and or against humans somehow.
Yeah.
Anything relating to the deep state dark cult, which a lot of those ships do deal with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I also got, they were examining and going through them, and they were getting off-world help with that too. They've got some kind of an equipment and or ability to see inside the ships without going on every single one. So likely there's going to be helicopters or something. Maybe they're I don't know what they're using. Like they may be satellites, and they're viewing what's on the ships and looking through them with a fine-tooth comb. So I think there's all these things going on, and we're just not let in on it.
No, exactly. We can't be. And no wonder it's taking a time, because can you imagine how many there are to go through? I mean, honestly. Yeah. And then the ones that you do find something, you've got to take off somewhere else, haven't you? I mean, it's a huge logistical operation. Okay, fantastic. So a bit more of a light-hearted question, the next one from my friend Angie, that will kill me if I don't not ask. Julia Roberts. Have you done a reading on Julia Roberts before?
I can't remember, so let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's see. Is she a black hat or a white hat?
She's definitely a black hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, born into a cult family, looks like. She's secretly called to justice, so she's probably at the spa or one of the spas, what we call the spas, which are south of Florida. You guys will have to figure it out. Can't
Yes.
say it on here, right? So yeah, she's from a child. So she was from a child already involved. And who they say is her mother, interesting, weird, may not be her mother. So she could have been placed in the family. So some bloodline thing going on there. Interesting. Yeah, so she's a black hat.
Yeah. It's really upsets me actually when you hear that this has all happened from when they were a child, because you just think, oh,
Yeah.
just horrific, you know, what they've probably been to. So yeah. Okay, so the next one is a lady. Well, quite a lot of people have been asking us about what actually is ascension to the fifth dimension. Is it an earth shift that's going to happen, or is it just the people, I'm assuming, and creatures as well? You know, is it going to be a physical thing or a spirit soul level thing?
Okay, it's physical. It'll affect our physical selves because all of the cards around it are physical cards, pentacles. Okay, it's going to affect, and it's already happening, and lots of people are already involved somehow or moved up energetically or whatever, but it comes through our heart chakras. So it has something to do with our heart. Okay, so it's going to affect us emotionally. Yeah, interesting. So this one was first, so it was looking at the sun. So the page of Pentecost. Oh, I get children being born already are born ascended. So they don't have to do all the work we're doing because their souls already agreed to the ascension and they're coming in ascended already. So anybody born, I'm going to ask, well, when did that start happening? So let's have a look.
How lovely.
Like for the last 7 years.
Wow.
So that, it makes sense because so many children are so evolved. Like when I talk to kids, even youth, and even my son's friends and him, and just the things they come up with, I feel like every generation is more and more evolved. That's why we learn so much from our kids.
Definitely. It's just amazing to see, isn't it? It's really exciting to see, actually. So it gives great hope for the future, so long as they're not all made sterile.
Yeah.
So by the you know what. So wow. Okay, that's really exciting. Good. So the next one, now I'm going to butcher this name because I am hopeless at pronouncing names, but have you heard of Philippe Arguillier? So he is president of the Human Rights Unity in France, and he's been receiving a lot of publicity recently because apparently he's got a data bank on the US shadow government comprised of 38 billionaires. And he's now got more data banks, and he wants to bring down the shadow government and free Africa of the controlling Western governments and billionaires. And apparently 2 weeks ago, he was offered £20 million for his database. So he's been on a lot of interviews, a lot of things. So can we ask the cards, is he real? Is he authentic? Is he a white hat to begin with?
Is he the guy that goes around in jets, private jets? He's also a billionaire and he goes all over the world.
I'm really not sure, actually, because this was sent to me. So I hadn't heard anything, and then I just listened to one of his interviews this afternoon. Let me have a look whilst you're.
Like, does he have a YouTube channel?
Yes.
Because there's a guy people have been telling me about that sounds like this guy, and he's also a billionaire, And he goes, like he gets into all these places. He never wears a mask. He does these videos all over the world, and he got there on a private jet. Like, so he's obviously connected, and it's quite fascinating, but thinks of himself as a truther. I wonder if that's the same guy.
Yes, I think it probably is. And because we want to know, is he a goodie, and is he in touch with the Trump team, the White Hats? It looks very interesting, actually. It's definitely one I want to find out more about. Well, possibly, we'll see.
Okay, I feel like he's trying to be a goodie. So, you know, he's obviously been involved in some bad stuff with that card. Got the moon there. So I think he's been involved or knows of what the dark hats are capable of or whatever. He's been on both sides of the fence, maybe. This is interesting. It feels like he's trying to move over and he wants to avoid justice. So he's trying to get on the good side of this war, which is, you know, that's a good idea. You know what I mean? Yeah, he wants to be thought of as a good guy, but I feel like, you know, he has some situations that could be problematic from his past. But he's trying to like rebirth himself and come on to the good side. So that's good. You know, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to get himself on the right side of things. And I do feel like the Trump team are very aware of him. They're not calling him a white hat just yet or anything. Okay, but I think he's been doing good things and helping them.
Yeah.
Yeah, insiders are always good, right?
Yeah.
I think they're
they're vital, aren't they? Yeah, they're vital, because you do
sure.
Sometimes you need to have had exposure to this to actually know, even to raise these issues, don't you? So it is a very tricky situation for a lot of people. And it's interesting because obviously we've been talking in the last few weeks about Ricardo Bossi from Australia saying, you know, you've got till the 31st of October to switch sides, or after that it's too late, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is from a lady in South Africa. Now, apparently, in South Africa, the revenue services are coming down really hard on the civilians. So could you ask the cards what is happening about South Africa? Because there's rumours that the President Ramaphosa and his cabinet will be arrested before the elections, but it's all just rumours. So what state is South Africa in, please?
When you say the revenue, so are you talking about their taxes?
Yeah, they're really raking in all the money, is the way she's put it. So they're coming down hard on them to get all their money off them.
Probably a desperate ploy because they're illegal like every other one. That sounds like desperation. And it's interesting because YouTube all of a sudden got really desperate for everybody to fill out tax forms and taxes, any income you make on it, quite heavily, I might add. Fascinating. Yeah, and they just started that this year. So as far as I'm concerned, that's just a desperation on the part of the bad guys.
Yeah.
Right. To rake in any kind of dough they can, since theirs all got froze up. Okay, so the Lovers and the Magician. Yeah, it's all based in falsehoods. It's based in falsehoods. Down the road, people are going to be able to demand it back. So they should keep records, and I'm not giving financial advice, so nobody take this as financial advice, but if it was me, I'd just hold off on that if I could. You give it till the new year anyway, but I'm not trying to tell people what to do in their situations financially. So
yeah. So is it looking like the South African government are under the control of the White Hats yet, or not? I think they're having a really tough time by the sounds of it over there.
I got a really interesting couple in touch with me, and they've gotten spiritual advice to not pay anything to any kind of federal anything.
Mm.
So any company connected to the feds, they're Canadians. And I won't say their names, of course, but they've got spiritually, and I believe them, right? It's pretty interesting, and they're just not, and they're going to see what happens. So I'm keeping in touch with the outcome for them and what goes
Yeah.
down. It's interesting.
Very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. We got the Ace of Swords, the Hanged Man, the Star. Whoever's presenting to be in charge is not in charge. It's fake. Actually, who seems to be, so I'm thinking white hats, but very much guided by off-worlders, because those are my two off-world cards. So they got this ancient wisdom helping them, and good guys are definitely helping them in the background. So whatever's going on, it's part of the movie, it looks like. Yeah. They're going to come out of this by this time next year way better. They're going to be a very wealthy nation at some point here in the near future. There's a whole bunch of wealth coming their way, I feel like, because they've been so pillaged by the dark system. And lots of countries have been made to be these underdogs that they're not. In fact, because they offer so much. Think about what South Africa and all of Africa offers. Think about all of the wealth there.
Oh,
The
unbelievable.
wealth of the humans, the fascinating people that live there. Like, they're such a wealthy nation in spiritually in so many ways. And they've been pillaged, and because they're afraid of that kind of magic.
Yeah.
So all of those repressed countries are going to end up. So don't forget, the meek shall inherit the earth. Okay. Yeah. They're going to end up way on top the heap financially, above even other places. So
Brilliant.
And I don't mean just finances. I mean, just in general lifestyle. It's going to improve a lot in the next year. So that's pretty exciting to know.
That's really lovely. That's so lovely to know.
And I'll get to visit there then. That'll be so exciting. Yeah.
So desperate to go. I've only been to Zambia to see and work with the elephants. That was just absolutely.
Oh, wow. Let's go together.
Yeah. Oh, let's go together. Let's definitely go together. I can't wait.
So fun. Yeah. Right on.
So I know we've spoken about this before, but can we ask about Kayleigh McEnany? Because she's in the news a lot at the moment and putting out some really, really good stuff. So just can we ask the cards again about whether she is JFK and Caroline's daughter? Because there's lots more. I've seen a lot over the last 2 weeks coming out about her.
What are they saying about her?
That she is. And some of the pictures are quite amazing, particularly with Caroline.
Okay, so it doesn't want to say.
Yeah.
Certainly there's some relation and bloodlines there. That's all it's going to say. And then this says, this is the outcome, patience with that one. That's they're just gearing up for reveals like that.
Yeah.
She's in the line. She's in the bloodline. Anyway, we'll say that.
Yeah, that's what it said last time. Oh, well, I couldn't help but ask again.
It's funny that's saying the same thing.
Yeah, that's really good. Right. Okay, I'm going to go out of order a bit with these. So in the UK, in Dorset, the rollout of this for the 12 to 15-year-olds in school has been paused by the health minister. Now, the story is that it's been paused because of staff shortages. But can we ask whether that's true? Has it been paused for staff shortages, or is there someone there trying to help the children out there?
In the background, it's paused for legal reasons. They don't have the legal right to do that, what they're doing. Yeah, it won't go forward. It's paused because it's to wake people up and they don't actually mean to hurt your kids. Okay, so wow. They want you to show you what the bad guys were intending to do to your kids.
Yeah, because they have rolled it out and a lot, and we've already had quite a few teenagers dying.
A whole bunch of things are happening in the background around legalities that we don't know about.
Right.
And justice is going to be served to a lot of people on the back channels here, but that all just needs to come to the surface, which, you know, Cliff High says should be happening real soon. So does a lot of other intel, and also my cards say. So it's just a matter of, okay, let's get all of these ducks in a row and get this out to the people, like the news, the real news. Let's do this, right?
Yeah, I love the bit at the end of yours and Jean-Claude's interview with Tamara. So even though there was really bad internet problems and some definite interference there, when you did the reading about what was going to happen over the rest of this week was really fascinating and tied in really, really closely with what Cliff High had been saying, doesn't it? So
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Be a good weekend. Could be a good weekend. So next one, good old Kim Grogan, or however you pronounce her name, Kim
Gogan.
Yes. So she's done another interview again that I saw. I haven't watched it all, but she was talking about her system being.
So Kim, that's Kim. So that's interesting. 9 of Wands. So there's a desperation sometimes to the 9 of Wands. That's her information. So Kim and her information. So that's interesting. So this guy's really intense and focused on something. But when it's sitting there with this card, that aspects it in an interesting way. Okay, so it could be that she's desperate to get something out there. There's a desperation to those 2 cards, really intense and focused and desperate on something. And also on her last legs of something, because this guy's been through a lot and he's just got one more play to make. He's just really working something and he's pushed it to the limit. He's a 9 and then a 10 comes and then you're done. So there's a bit of feeling of intensity and desperation. Okay, so here's the past. Okay, she's been shut out of something, or something's not available to her, or she's not seeing the full picture. This person's got blinders on because of their own thoughts. So something they believe they're stuck somewhere, or they're stuck in some kind of thinking, but there's blinders on and they're stuck because they've been told something, or they're sticking to a narrative or something like that. So that's the past where she comes from. Possibly that's some of the programming I believe she's been through, because I believe they take her in and program her. And that, like, her whole story sounds like she's missing big chunks of her life. Okay, because I think she's been programmed and doesn't even realize it herself. Okay, so this is in the middle. So this is between her and the story or what she's telling. Okay, we got the Fool. Okay, so she's not aware that her story was told to her, I believe. So she's sticking to a narrative she's been told, and she's stuck in that narrative. That's what I get. There's the near future. So the near future is the money comes out anyway. So abundance, money, this is like the system changes anyway to the advantage of. Okay, but this is around her. So this would be under her, that card. And in spite of Kim Gogan and her information, Jasara comes anyway. And it doesn't go the way, meanwhile, she's stuck in her information. So these are under her cards, but this is what actually happens. So things come anyway, and the money system changes anyway, in spite of Kim's information.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think she's got it right. And I'm not mad at Kim or weird about Kim. Every time I look at her, something's going on there. She's stuck in some narrative and she might not even know it. With the Fool in the middle, she might not even know it.
No, and you wouldn't, would you, in that situation? That's the thing. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know that those things have been planted.
If we had a yes, her information is correct, we'd have had an ace in one of the two, first two, past or first two. So 1, 2, or 3. One of those 3 we would have had. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. But then we didn't have the magician saying she's totally lying on purpose. She actually believes what she's saying. This is
Yeah.
what's interesting about Kim. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is, and it's so fascinating because the whole of society, we've all been, you know, brainwashed, mind controlled to various degrees, and as we start waking up from that, it's a very fascinating process. So yeah, so I think you have obviously been getting your party dress ready, because you've got a very special guest coming to Canada. Apparently Pope Francis has accepted an invitation to visit Canada. You're so lucky.
Oh my goodness.
I won't be coming to join you to plug
yeah.
on that. So apparently he's you know, to apologize for the Catholic Church's role in the Indigenous people subjected to the horrific events. So apparently the story is that the Vatican have issued a statement saying that that Canada's bishops have formally invited to him to make this reconciliation, and that he has accepted. So can we see what the cards have got to say about that? Because that's very odd, isn't it?
Oh yeah. So is he coming as a hologram?
Yeah,
or
what on earth? How did you pull this one out?
somebody gonna play him? Okay, interesting. So that's him. So and that, so the whole thing's under shrouded secrecy, what's really going on with him. Okay, and the chariot it's a pretty ballsy move for them to be even like that. So that sounds like a white hat op, if you want my opinion. They're signaling something with that. Okay, they're signaling something. There's the past. Okay, so we've got the Ace of Cups. So I think this is going to be a very creative way that they are meaning to, like what he'd never do, which would be to come and apologize and admit that the Canadian Catholic Church, they've been asking the Catholic Church to do that for so long. Exactly. And the Queen and the Jesuits and you name it, all the other people, they've been asking them for so long. And here we've got, so it is to honor the Indigenous people, but not necessarily literally with him, because he might actually be underground at this point, literally. So that's interesting. Or he certainly, where he really is, let's just say, is hidden. See that hidden? Yeah. So it's definitely not going to be him. And we've got 6, and yeah, he's already been processed in a justice system of some kind. So yeah, it's not going to be him, but it is like a signal to say, you guys should have done this.
Yeah,
absolutely. That you did it. Okay.
Such great fun. I mean, if I was in the white hat team, I would be doing all things like this as well, just to really say, right, okay, now we've got control of the movie. I'm going to make sure that we do all things and expose all the things and make you grovel, basically. So now, poor little Queenie has not been very well again, as we talked about last time, and we're getting her most hysterical headlines here about how amazing Kate and William and their children and the get well soon cards the children have written, and it's the most ridiculous headlines. So apparently now she's not going to be traveling to Glasgow this weekend. You know, we've spoken about a lot of the world leaders are coming to Glasgow this weekend for the big environmental conference, the COP26. And she was meant to be going, and they made the big play, and we wondered whether that's where something was going to happen to them. But apparently now she's not well enough to travel, so she'll be doing it by video. So can we ask the cards about the about the COP26 and the Queen? Is it still something significant going to happen this weekend with regard to her?
Whoa, this card fell out.
That's absolutely priceless.
So, and then secrets. That was next. Secrets. Okay, such a big secrets around what's really going on. I mean, didn't we talk about this last week? Wasn't Will and Kate seen at the Heathrow or something? It's like, really?
It's hysterical. It is absolutely hysterical. I mean, the headlines are really odd. You know, things like so it's been in the headlines this week. I mean, you've got to laugh because someone's having a laugh. on some of the headlines, it was saying that she's exhausted because she likes her gin and tonic at lunchtime, and then she has all her engagements, and then she stays up late watching TV in the evening.
No way.
This is just so ridiculous, you know.
I wonder if that reptilian group likes gin and tonic. I wonder if there's something about gin and tonic that.
I wonder, should we ask? Yeah, let's ask. I
We'll
know
ask if
people
she actually drinks gin and tonic. But first we're gonna see if what's going on. Okay, whatever's going on, it's a big white hat op. The whole thing about they completely own the narrative of the royal family. So anything you're hearing about them's controlled by these guys. You better believe it. And they're also on notice. So they have a big crossroads coming up where they got to exit her. Okay, so they got to exit her. So the past, so interesting, that's the past. Interesting. And the present. And the reason that they're being so careful is because so many people still love her and think she was such a nurturing good. Yeah. So if you can call somebody like her nurturing, because this card, this is what's believed about her. So that's their dilemma. Their dilemma is it would crack are they ready to quite just blow the minds of so many you know people all over the world, but UKers in particular, right? Because they got to be careful, and they've been really careful. So it feels like they've had some setbacks. They might have even had a few other dates they were going to take her, and it feels like they're waiting every day, checking what. There's all these things they have to consider. So of course they're going to consider gematria. Now that we know about that, they're going to consider they have probably certain dates they could exit her and still say what they need to say with it or whatever, because they're doing all the same things that the bad guys do to us. They're back at them. Okay, so they got to utilize certain dates. So it's sitting there, and it could be every day they're looking at what would this say and how would this, you know what I mean? So they probably have 2 more dates that could exit her maybe this weekend, and it may be, you know what I mean? And I think
it'd just be perfect, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's really soon though. So they know they got to do it really soon. So that's why they've got her with the ill health stories.
Oh, it's just been building up beautifully to a crescendo. You can just see it coming. But the frustration is, quite a few of us were talking about this, because I've had so much criticism from people from saying what I've said about the royals, and oh my gosh, the anger. But it is a good point. It's all very well sitting there and waiting to be sensitive to all the opinions and feelings of the people that don't know, but the rest of us have had such a bashing. It's like, well, come on a minute, now it's time to think about our feelings for a change, really. Getting a bit bored of that argument, really. I lost
like a huge audience when I started really going down those rabbit holes, and that's okay, because I gained a whole bunch more that knew about this. People that knew this 20 years ago were writing me. It was fascinating.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, there's
a lot of people have known about this for a long while, haven't they?
Yeah. So we're looking at the gin. Wait, we got to look at the gin.
I think we should relook at the gin, because I do know a lot of gin drinkers. So let's see.
Does she really drink gin tonic? Is that a signal? Because that's something child group likes, or what's going on there? Because we know gin is made from, if it's done properly, I guess it's made from that is it
one of the
berries or something?
What is it made? Let me have a look whilst we're doing that, because I do know what it's made from. I'm just a bit tired. Let me have a look. What is gin? Everyone's going to be shouting at the screen, aren't they?
I know.
I'll have a look whilst you're looking at that.
I do love gin tonic, I must say. I mean, I hardly ever drink it, but it is delicious when you do. Okay, so let's see.
Juniper berries, that's right, juniper.
Juniper, yeah.
It's very cleansing, isn't it?
Yeah, juniper berries. So they're like, if you were going to drink a hard liquor, that might be one that in very small amounts could be good for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, it doesn't look like they drink it. Okay, so this is walking away from something, and maybe alcohol in general, because those are cups.
Yeah.
So maybe that whole bunch doesn't drink anything. I don't think she did drink gin tonic, so that's funny. I'm thinking she's, that's like a story.
Mm.
Oh, goodness, yeah, maybe when she was still human,
Yes.
at some point, when she got taken over by that reptile sort of energy. Okay, so this card says that's a gossip and innuendo, and like this guy puts out stories. This would be like somebody writing stories and they have very little truth if it
Yeah.
was about information and we're asking about information, right? So a page could be gossip and innuendo. So I think they just continued that story. Maybe her human self liked it, but the reptile, you know what they drink, you know,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be
It's
gin.
not gin. No, it's not even the same color.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's so funny. Someone's having a right laugh with the headlines, I must say. So yeah.
They are.
So the next question, I've had a lot of questions about this. Again, it's back to the COP26 in Glasgow, because it's going to be the same as the other one we had in the summer, where they say all these people are coming. So there's a big group of people that are going to be meeting to meditate, to try and negate any negative energy that this whole scenario is bringing. So the question is from them all is, will the meditation that they're going to be doing outside this COP26, will it help negate any negative energy that anyone that is there is bringing?
Interesting. Well, first of all, I don't think there's really, those people are really there where they say they are. So this is kind of an illusion card, especially when it's aspected, you know, in certain ways. And it's definitely not well aspected with the Hanged Man. So they're not even, most of those people aren't even there. So they film those other places, they put the photos together, they Photoshop. We saw what happened last time.
Yeah.
It was a riot. Picking those pictures apart was pretty simple, actually. If you just did a little bit of research, you could tell right away what was going on there. Okay, so it looks like because of that, well, they could do that, but I don't think anything negative is gonna, I feel like because it's part of the movie, I think it's great for the planet to do that, but it doesn't feel like it's per se desperately necessary for them to do that. I feel like it'll probably relieve some down the road. You know, putting good energy into the world's always a good idea, like that. But the whole thing's false anyway.
Yeah.
If they, you know, they got something better to do that week.
Yeah. Doesn't it always intrigue you? It's like when they've had these things, the CGI bit or the photoshopping is almost the easy bit, but what do they tell all the staff who are working at the hotels and
That's a great question. How do they handle that? Is everybody under that?
I can't get my head around that at all.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Let's have a look. You know, because all the false flags they did in the US during Obama.
Yes, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And what the orchestration it would have taken. So a large majority are hired actors. So maybe they say, oh, we're bringing in a team and we're not going to use our usual caterers. We're bringing in this team. So the team is hired. Okay. So all of this hidden, so they likely have them signing something because this guy hides a lot under his cloak.
Yeah.
So it's cloaked. So the whole thing is cloaked. So they bring in their own staff and they get rid of the usual staff. Okay, so they bring in their actors and those guys are all they just want jobs and they're happy to sign, you know, things that say they're not going to say anything. In this case, it's a white hat op. So they might have even been, because I'm getting these are good kind of, especially together. So they're generously paid, it looks like, and they're generous with them. And they might even tell them to some degree what's going on.
Mm.
But they say, okay, you can't say anything until after this date, or until we let you know. Because
Yeah.
we know that a lot of even some really, like Simon Parks is always talking about, he's signed MDAs or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And so Charlie Ward and, yada, yada, these guys, so that ones that are closer to this stuff or had been involved in it, they probably have to sign these things.
Yeah, absolutely. No.
So they come in and they look like they're bringing in food, and and then once they get in there, maybe they just hang out and
Eat
party.
it. I mean, what a job. You get paid a
Yeah.
fortune, you carry in the tray, and then once the doors are shut,
Yeah, right? Yeah,
you
exactly.
just sit there and stuff your face.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah,
Missed
and
out one there, didn't we, Janine?
people have done this digging and they've found where the call out is. So people need to dig around.
Yeah.
There'll probably be a call out months ago, would have been
Yeah.
months ago, to get these guys lined up to do this on this weekend, like, right? So anybody in the movie industry would probably know about those things, right? How to find it.
Modeling industries and things, they do there. So if anyone knows anything, let us know.
Yeah.
Please, because I've always wondered about that. I'm thinking, well, that is a lot. But then if you can do a wavy flag thing with
Yeah.
involving children in school and get away with that, then, good grief, you can do anything, can't you? So
Did you ever see the footage of behind stage just before a grieving parent was supposed to go on? They were laughing and joking. And then the person said, okay, you got a minute, you're going to be on. And they got their grieving parent face on and went out. And what parents would even go out so quickly after anyway? Do you know what I mean? Just
exactly.
Weird. That many of them. But yeah, it was fascinating. Somebody leaked that, and it's been around for a long time. They might have tried scrubbing it off. I don't know, but I saw it not that long ago.
It's hideous, isn't it? It's just absolutely hideous how you could be involved in that level of deceit,
Yeah. Yeah. And there's been somebody who worked at that school who was let go of before so they got all new people, and everything covered up with all this weird stuff happened months leading up to it.
Yeah.
And she's totally had death threats, and she's been trying to out it for years and years and years.
And this is the thing that I think surprises people like me who's so impatient, is the planning that goes into these and the patience they've got and the execution. It's so well planned so far in advance that, they can do these things. So they have had time to replace members of staff, to put different things, it's just really quite incredible how patient they are and how far in advance they do plan these things, which is why they've been up until now so successful. Not
because
any
nobody would believe somebody would do that.
would do
When I
something
tried
like
to tell like family members about it way back, everyone, there always the comments, and even today what's going on in the whole world, always the comment back to me is, why on earth, who would take time? They're so unorganized governments, they would never do that. Nobody would. And it's like, that they're depending on you thinking that, right?
Well, that's why these people pretend to be buffoons, because then you get away with it, don't you? Because people think you wouldn't do that. Whereas if they looked, they showed their true colors. So this one was unbelievable when I saw this. So CDC Director Rochelle Walensky has publicly come out and said that the Biden regime will provide hesitant police and other government workers with education and counselling to make them feel comfortable about taking it's just horrific. And they've come out and said this. So as that word said, there is a plan, should these people not want to be, towards how we can educate and counsel them to give them the information they need so that they are comfortable to get it. And the fact, again, they've come out and said this.
They're just trying to make everybody mad and at the dark cult plan. So they're trying to expose, this is an exposure of what the plan was. So it's all good guys around it. So that whole story is a story, because we know that bunch, the B team, it doesn't really exist in reality.
Yeah.
Like it parades around with, like, and really, if you look at it, they're doing no real governing of the country, which is why the whole country feels like and thinks that they're going to, you know what? But I feel like they'll really rise again. I get there's an undercurrent of things going on, of course,
Oh,
that to the normies don't know, blah, blah, blah. We've been talking about it for a couple, maybe a year anyway, that we've known for sure about that, shadow government, the good guys now shadowing, not the bad guys anymore. So that flipped. So this is just a way to out these guys for the, like, think about it. A story like that, wouldn't that be outrageous to you? That's outrageous.
Oh, completely outrageous. I was thinking about this, and I'm speaking tomorrow night with Bryce and someone else about the whole brainwashing thing and how they get away with this mass brainwashing, because it's so fascinating. Because I showed a video to a couple of friends that are not awake at all of BB, the ex-president of United States.
Yep.
Talking about, and in this interview he does a slip up and says Michael and I.
Yeah.
Now when you see that, and then there's another interview that's doing the rounds when he talks about his Muslim faith and then quickly corrects himself to Christian faith. Now when you show people these videos, they adamantly just say, well, anyone can make a slip of the tongue. Well, I don't suddenly call my husband Margaret. I would never say a slip of the tongue. My husband's name is Margaret. I mean, it's just ridiculous, but they're so convinced with their story. So when you show them something like that, they won't believe it. It's quite incredible, isn't it, actually? Yeah. And then the other one, did you see the pictures that are doing the rounds with the current Joe?
Yeah.
And there's pictures of him topless, and he's got a big tattoo on one of his arms. And then, of course, when he's having they've on the same arm, there's no tattoo on it.
Yeah.
This is like you were saying, actually, if people are curious enough to ask the pictures, it doesn't take much to actually find that evidence that that's not the same person.
They're doing it on purpose.
Yeah. It's
They're
just
trying to make you do the work. They're trying to make that. That's what they've been doing all along.
And of course, most people wouldn't ever ask the question, so they wouldn't look. But if you were really wanting to convince people, it's very easy to put a fake tattoo on someone.
Yeah.
So it's hysterical when this comes out. I really cannot wait to sort of see. So there's a new study coming out from the UK. They're coming out all over the world, really, about other commonly available medicines. This one's brunecidine, which is an asthma medication that's very effective against the V word, and it's very cheap, in common use and everything. Well, we all know there's others, but can we ask the cards why this is all coming out now? Because considering they've banned all the other ones that we all know work, and they haven't, why are they doing this big study? This is Oxford Biomedical Research Centre, which is dodgy to the core.
It feels like a story and not based in truth. So it feels like it's part of the movie. Yeah, this is interesting. I think they're trying to out somebody with it. So I don't know who. Maybe out that obviously these guys have been covering up all of these things and now it's coming to light.
Yeah.
So the general population, they're still trying to wake up some of the general population, it looks like, to alert them to look at this, like, here this is, and nobody talked about it. If they really cared about your health, they'd have brought this up 2 years ago or a year ago, or they wouldn't have made you, try to force you to do some experimental shot. And
it could be a way out to get these things coming out, because they're not going to go back and admit that the I1 and the HC1, people know what those medicines are that they've said don't work and they've banned them everywhere, because that would be too much egg on their face. But if they bring out new commonly available cheap ones, it could help the white hats get us all out of this panic over the what, couldn't it?
Yep, that's exactly right with that ace.
It's a good strategy to ease the normies back in normal life, I would say.
They're absolutely using incredible psychological stuff on us both sides. I mean, the other side's already been doing that for years and years, but they're trying to undo some of the damage with their own version of, and it might sound sleazy, but honestly, you can't just tell people stuff. You've tried. Look what they say to you. You know what I mean? I literally get, even though I've been a total help to my whole family in every situation, emotionally, don't forget, I've been a reader for 35 years. You know, I'm not reading personal clients anymore, but I did for all those years. So all my family members at some point came to me for really big things, and always turned out right. And I predicted like a lot of kids and a lot of everything stuff happening, and right down to exactly when my grandmother would pass over, because I had this really big dream about it. And I told my dad, and I said, you better go. She was in a old folks home, and I said, you got to go visit her if you haven't. And then sure enough, within 2 days she'd left us. But you know what I mean? It's like that. I'm known in the family for that, but as soon as I start talking about this stuff, everybody's doing this. I'm barely welcome at family functions. So that's how brainwashed people are.
Yeah.
Well,
at least you're barely welcome. I'm not welcome at all. So but I'm making amends. I'm being very good and very patient despite the abuse.
Yeah.
Give me a glass of gin, I won't be so polite. So yeah, but yeah, we it's coming soon. Now I had a couple of others I want to ask. Okay, Scotland, lovely Nicola Sturgeon. Can we ask what's happening with her in Scotland? Because the Scots, again, they've rolled out the passport things in Scotland, but apparently it's not going well at all. There's loads of problems with it.
Everything's about to turn right around in Scotland. They're going to be celebrating really soon. All the stuff that supposedly is happening is not necessarily. This card worries about a bunch of things, stressed about all these things that aren't actually going to be true. All the sideways swords in tarot, for it to be correct, has to be an up and down sword. This card's a lot of information. So a lot of the things they believe happened, that believe their government signed off on, blah, blah, they're not going to stand. It's not going to stand. This is the outcome. Things get way better super soon here, and they come back, bounce back to being a really, like the strength of the Scots will come back again.
Yeah.
So it's all about to, this narrative's about to blow. Like this is the card that was describing the narrative. It's all about to blow up, and it mostly is there to scare people.
Yeah.
So even if they did do that and it's in for a short time, I'm telling you, it's going to blow up. And a lot of these narratives have been set back a couple more weeks, and aren't working for, that's all on purpose. That's all. They're just buying time to let you in on the truth, which, you know, bring it on any minute, I say.
And the Scots really know how to party, so that's going to be really good. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, final question. I can't leave poor Italy out. So Sicily has had a rare storm that has resulted in really bad floods, killed a couple of people so far, and expected to hit its peak, this storm, Thursday and Friday this week, because the sea is 8 degrees warmer than average. So poor old Italy is being battered a bit with the storms at the moment. Is that just a normal weather event, or is there something behind this weird storm in Sicily?
That's the weirdest thing. Okay, the cards don't want to talk about the storm. They're saying really good things coming for Sicily right away as well. Something they've been waiting for a really long time. Near future, everything's awesome again there.
Great.
All of a sudden, their whole world gets back to a place they can rebuild, and it's not going to be the same. So I'm thinking we got a big situation gearing up.
Mm.
I wonder if that was a natural storm. It kind of getting natural cards.
Yeah,
I'm not necessarily getting it was unnatural, so done by the bad guys kind of storm.
yeah,
Doesn't really look like it. Sometimes nature does, has storms, right? So,
absolutely.
yeah, it feels like it doesn't, it's not commenting on it the way you asked it.
Good.
So, but I did get a big overview where there are really good things coming. And they're going to become really abundant again. And they're growing all the things they grow, because look at all her wheat. They're
Yeah.
going to produce I feel like they're going to come really forward that area as a big, their biggest wealth will be what they grow.
Yes. Oh my God. Beautiful, beautiful food that grows there. Really,
Yeah.
really lovely.
It'll come back again, and they'll be very sought after, and in the new world coming.
How exciting. We've covered a lot of different areas today in terms of geographical areas as well as a lot of different subjects. Yeah. Hopefully that will keep.
It's an interesting trend I've noticed in the readings. Just sometimes the way the universe wants to talk feels like it's already jumping to the good stuff. So that's good news. So I think you're really close when your readings are looking like that. They're like, yeah, we already know that this is where we're going.
Amazing, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. They've just been really positive, and yeah, it just feels right. Just feels really, really right, doesn't it? That definitely. I think we've had a really warm week. It's been sunny. It's been things. It just seems that there's a lot of good coming in. Oh, thank you so much. That's absolutely fantastic. So let us know, anyone who's in Glasgow, what happens. Keep an eye on it. Try and get some good pictures of the actors for us.
Yeah.
Catch them out with something.
And if anybody knows people that usually work there, let us know what they're doing. Like,
yeah.
So you ask them what's going on. Are you working that weekend? What's up? See what happens. See if they get all closed mouthed. Maybe they're in on the thing, or are they telling you, oh no, we got the weekend off. They got a special team. Like that kind of investigating is pretty straightforward. It'd be really fun to know just from somebody literally working there. And don't forget, they might have signed something, but you can usually tell if they're not telling you something.
And if not, give them a strong gin and tonic, and then they'll tell you.
Like that guy from the Pfizer who was taken out for drinks.
Oh, that was just horrific. I mean, you did have to feel for him, didn't you? Because who hasn't been in that situation when they've had a few too many drinks and sort of said a few things that they wish they hadn't? And the look on his face, have you ever seen anyone sober up so quickly?
Unbelievable. You know what's interesting though is like, why would you even work for a company that was keeping secrets that could devastate the human race? So you're a scumbag if you're doing that. So I'm glad he got caught with his pants down.
Yeah, absolutely. And so many people do it, but it's this cognitive dissonance where they're able to, it's almost like they distance themselves and they just don't see it. They don't allow them to see it because they've got their pensions, their wage. A lot of them, they've been there their whole career. You know, companies like that, a lot of people go in and work their way up and spend their whole career there, and they choose to bury their hand in it. But he knew from what he said. So he wasn't one of those people that wasn't aware. He bloody well knew. But that is your ultimate embarrassment, isn't it? I mean, how horrendous. Talk about karma.
Yeah. Going forward, just never mind the karma, but a lot of people, that guy's going to have a hard time getting a job. I bet he got canned over that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Anyway. Oh
my God. Yeah. Send a few more videos like that in. We like seeing those. It gives us something to giggle about. Well, have a brilliant evening. I forgot to tell you that my neighbour's 6 Canadian geese have arrived back this week. I just adore Canadian geese, and I'm really hoping. So last year, the mum and dad had 4 babies, and now 6 have appeared. So I'm really hoping all 6 of them have made it.
Wow.
And come back here to winter. I was so excited today. Yeah. So I think my neighbours think I'm mad that I'm so excited over their geese.